Since the beginning of cinema, horror movies have graced our screens and thrilled its audiences in a unique way. These new types of movies that emerged brought audience members original and terrifying storylines that had never been thought of before. But in this new modern age, where some of these unique horror movies have long been forgotten, some have been remade in a way that reaches out to new audiences. With that in mind, we'd like to share with you 5 of the best horror remakes around. Found footage horror movies are new to the genre, becoming popular after the emergence of the Blair Witch Project. John Eric Dowdall's Quarantine may be one of the best found footage horror movies around, a remake of the Spanish found footage film Wreck. The film stars Jennifer Carpenter as a news reporter who becomes trapped in a quarantined apartment building after the outbreak of a zombie virus. This remake does a good job at keeping you on the edge of your seat, just like the original did, with the premise the same as the original, but Quarantine is more relatable for an English-speaking audience. When the remake for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was released, the original had been almost 30 years old. Marcus Nispel's version keeps the same premise and remains just as visually terrifying and bold as the 1974 original. The remake stars Jessica Biel as she and her friends are hunted by a chainsaw-wielding killer and his psycho family in the backwoods of Texas. This remake not only helped to validate just how classic this movie is, but helps us solidify Leatherface as one of the scariest horror movie killers ever made. It leaves you wondering if what you saw was based on a true story. Like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the remake for The Hills Have Eyes came almost 30 years after the Wes Craven original. The original is just as memorable and became a cult classic, popularising the horror of incestuous families. Alexandra Ayer's The Hills Have Eyes is just as gory and twisted as the original, which had received an X rating back in 1977. The remake stars Ted Levine as he and his family go on a road trip through the desert that turns into a fight for survival. This is just as good as the original and delivers a high-octane thrill that is sure to scare you and gross you out. Fede Alvarez's Evil Dead is very different from its original. This remake stars Jane Levy but keeps the same premise. 5 friends go to a cabin in the woods where they find the Book of the Dead and summon demons, but the premise is about all it keeps. While at times the original was a bit campy and silly, the remake is dark and is not for the faint of heart, which is a reminder that the 1981 original got an X rating also. Evil Dead is one of the best horror remakes around because it's made from a somewhat humorous horror movie, but turns itself into something completely different that features plenty of gore and frightening demons. There is nothing funny about this movie. There are a lot of horror remakes out there. Countless movies with unoriginal premises that don't do justice to their predecessor. But we've come up with one of the best horror remakes, and that is Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. This remake not only pays homage to George Romero, but it gives audience members a fresh new look at a zombie apocalypse. The film stars Sarah Polley and Ving Rhames as part of a group of survivors who take refuge in a mall. One of the best things about the remake is its characters, and it's easily one of the most memorable zombie movies that has ever been made. Are there any horror movie remakes you think we've missed? Let us know in the comments below.